Hi everyone, today we're going to be working on the Project 3 Love Meter. So follow along as we get going, and if you've started this project already, I'm going to actually restart from the very beginning. My advice to you is just restart. I chunked up the way we had done it before and done it really badly, so I'm going to make some changes while we go through it. So first thing I want to do is open up a new sketch. I'm going to name that sketch Love Meter Sea Level. Awesome. And at the top, it should now say Love Meter Sea Level. Perfect. Now I'm going to do a comment up in this comment space at the top. So in between this slash asterisk and asterisk slash, I'm going to describe what the project does. So this project turns on LEDs when the temperature sensor heats up. And off when it cools down. Awesome. That's a good enough thing. Now the void setup, I know I'm going to need 3 pin modes or 4 pin modes, 3 for the LED and 1 for the temperature sensor. I plugged my LEDs in 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to do pin mode. And I'm going to put it in 2, comma, and that's going to be an LED, so it's going to be an output. I'm sending energy out. So I'm going to put a semicolon at the end, slash for a comment, and I'm going to say sets pin 2 as an output. So this, once it says an output, it allows me to turn pin 2 off and on using the Arduino. All right, perfect. Next thing we want to do is create that same thing. But before we move on, I know I'm not going to want to put a 2 here. It's going to be hard to remember in a lot of sketches what number goes to what thing. The thing like, oh, the sensor's on pin 2. So instead, we're going to make a variable to help us out. So up here, I'm going to create a variable. int makes a variable, an integer variable. And we're going to label this temp pin. So the temperature sensor pin is equal to let's do the LEDs first. Red LED. That's the one I'm going to put in the first one. So I made a variable called red LED, and I'm going to store a 2 in that variable. Remember, all the variable is just a little piece of memory in the Arduino that can hold information. And that it's labeled red LED. So a little chunk of memory can only be used for red LED. Slash, and then let's see, creates a variable called red LED to store the pin number. So instead of putting 2 right here, I'm going to put red LED. And what the code will do when it gets here, it'll see red LED and it'll go up here and it'll go to the memory and grab the 2 that's currently stored in that memory. So pretty cool. All right, now I'm going to click on the number 6 here to highlight the entire row. Control C, Control V, V, V. That'll paste 2 times. And then I'm going to switch out these for red and put yellow in there. Yellow, red. And then blue is the 3 that I'm using. Blue there and blue there. So copying, pasting can be a real friend. I'm doing this because I know I have those other 2 LEDs I need to make. So 3 and 4. And then I'm going to do pin mode. I'm going to click on the 11 here. Actually, I'm going to go to the end of this line, hit enter just to open up some more space inside void setup so I don't accidentally go outside. Remember, I need to be in between this opening curly brace and the closing one. I'm going to click on the 11 and go Control C, Control V, V, V. That'll do 2 more pastes and then change these out. So this is yellow and this is blue. And then I'm going to do this as 3 and this as 4. Awesome. So our pin modes are set up mostly. We need one more for the, I just control V to another pin mode in. We need one more for the temperature sensor. So I'm going to come up here. Oh wait, I'm going to come back up here and do pin on all of these, because these are just the pin numbers. I'm going to need blue, red, yellow LED for later. So I'm going to put pin on all of these so I know what they're for. Pin here, pin here, pin here. Whoops. And then here I'm going to name this one actually temp pin that we started with. Come up here, copy and paste this line of code, and then just put in here temp pin, and A0 is, I think. Make sure you don't put A0, put A0 down. There should be a slash through the O there to make it mean it's a 0. And then I'm going to change the output on that one to input, and sets pin A0 as an input. Maybe to read the temp sensor. All right, so far so good. We've got our all the pins in now, and we have all of our pin modes in. And now we're going to jump down to void loop and start doing some stuff with the code. So far we've just set the Arduino up and gotten things ready. The first thing we want to do is do what's called an analog read. There are two reads. Now remember, reads are things coming in. So we want to read the sensor, the temperature sensor, and see what it's telling us the temperature is. We could use digital read or analog read. The only issue with digital read is only two possible things: on or off, high, low. And for a temperature sensor, that wouldn't make any sense. You wouldn't want it to be like the only two readings you would, it was hot and cold. You want all the ones in between. So we're going to instead use what's called an analog read. And what that does is it reads values in between 0 and 1023. So it reads the voltage on that pin, whichever pin you tell it, and it determines where it is between 0 and 5 volts. And it sets a value between 0 and 1023 to that voltage. So we're going to say, hey, we're going to do this for temp pin. Again, we're not going to use A0 because it's hard to remember what those things are. Temp pin, comma, and that's all we need. We just need to tell it what to read. And remember that Arduino is really stupid. It will go read the temp pin, which is A0. It'll get the value from 0 to 1023, and then it will forget it instantaneously. So we've got to tell it to put it somewhere. And this first one, let's call it sensor val. Space equal. So in front of that, I do sensor and a capital V for val equal analog read temp pin. This is the new variable that we're going to need to create that's going to store the value from the analog read. All right, I'm going to put a semicolon at the end here, and then come up here. I'm going to enter in a few extra spaces below my variables and do another integer for sensor val. And we don't really have a starting temperature. We don't know what it's going to be, so we don't need to really give it a starting value if we don't want to. We just make the variable sensor val and leave it unassigned. That means it'll just start at 0. All right, sensor val equals analog read temp pin. So this is going to read the pin at A0, assign it a value from 0 to 1023, and then store that value in the variable called sensor val. Let's write that out. So this reads the voltage at pin at A0 and assigns it a value from 0 to 1023 and stores that number in the variable temp val. Oh, sensor val, sorry. Now the number that gets put into sensor val is not the temperature. It is just this number from 0 to 1023. We need to convert that number into the temperature. To do that, I'm going to actually go to the end of this line, way over here, and see if I can't. I'm going to hit enter a few times just to open up some space inside the void loop. Make sure that the closing brace for the void loop is down here and you're working inside the opening and closing brace. All right, so I've read the sensor valve. I want to see if this is working. To do that, the only way to do that is to do a print. So we're going to do a serial. You remember it's called serial dot print. And we're going to print the number that's stored in sensor val. And so this prints the value in sensor val on the screen. Oh, there's some bad typing there. Awesome. Now, before we can use a serial print, we have to remind ourselves, oh, wait, we need to first open that connection between the Arduino and our computer, and we do that up top in the void setup, and we do that with serial dot begin 9600 and semicolon. And then this one's going to be, this is establishes a connection between the Arduino and the laptop. Okay. Wow, there's a lot of extra typing in there. All right, so that's it for this video. Good job so far. So go ahead and run this, download this code and run it. Oh, one last thing. When you do this, it's going to put all the values left to right to each other. And it's going to be really hard to read. It's going to like pack them all in. If you come after serial print and you add in an LN, it's going to take every new number to a new line. And it's going to stack them vertically down each other. You'll be able to read them more easily. All right, download this. Open your serial monitor over here on the side and see what numbers are scrolling here. If everything's working great, the number should be around the 140s or so. Awesome. Good luck.